contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them, no matter what. Alright, I'm not sure which one we need here.
So, regarding Taka's death,
Maybe this one.
I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after? We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
But do we, though?
You say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
I don't think that's true. I'm gonna have to say that
So,
the broken
regarding
wristwatch
Taka's
proved
death,
it.
I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after? We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Okay, that didn't work.
Shoot! So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi.
What does the Monokuma file say? Hello, similar weapon. Okay. And then, so here is message. It's account. Which one do we have here?
Or perhaps it was after?
His message.
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Alright, so none of those seem to prove it, and the hammer...
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died.
So I'm gonna try
before
absorbing
Hifumi,
the thing about
or
the
perhaps
hammers.
It was after.
Alright, what is the speed up button? I know there is one.
We already know
Here we go.
what order they were killed. Taka came last.
What makes
There
you
we go.
Because of the numbering of the Justice.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3.
While Taka's death.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to speed this up again. I've missed it because I was figuring out how to speed up again. They're so long between trials, I forget the controls.
We already know Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
There we go.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
So I think the
True that
numbering
Hifumi was killed while Taka's death.
we might be able to say what order, because this doesn't necessarily mean that it was used in the same order it was made, right?
Regarding Taka, I wonder if, or perhaps it was after. We already know what order they were killed in.
There we go. Okay. Those ones where you have to absorb the message always get me, because they've got evidence that looks like it's supposed to work.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were
Yeah,
used
see,
in the
there we go.
same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. We do have something, and I was trying to use it on the last one. But apparently I gotta do a gambit. Alright, let's see. Let's see if wristwatch fits here. Give me an S. Give me another T. Give me a W. Where's a C? Come on. Come on. Burning time here. Ta-da!
Now I understand. I got it. Papa's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night...
Hey! You! How long were you going to keep us waiting? Taka's irritated voice pierced the air as he stared pointedly at his wristwatch. It's almost 10 o'clock, you know that? Bedtime for all the little boys and girls!
So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, Then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us.
So, what does that mean?
We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's
That was pretty
exactly why
tricky.
the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
Oh, that's... Oh, man!
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Yeah, so he was definitely down... Okay, I'm not gonna read this again for the 4th time. Hifumi was in the nurse's office. We knew
When
this.
we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko.
Oh, Hiro was in a locker.
Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body. That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
But you forget he woke up in the repository.
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing. Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway. In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies.
I have an idea.
On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko
I'm gonna hold
had
it close to the
disappeared,
chest for now.
so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
We could not have been gone for more than a minute or two, though. So then the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short amount of time? It would seem so.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible
Yep, I think I'm right.
possible?
What? How?
If the dead body
Yep.
were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its
Why do you
own?
all think he was dead? He was not dead until after you talked to him.
No! No! Ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
You talked to him.
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
You talked to him. How are you forgetting that?
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
Yes, either that or he was hit, woke up, and left. But I think you're probably correct in saying he was playing dead.
It isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive. Is it really possible? Are they... Whatever. They're all seemingly oblivious to the fact that we talked to him after this happened. Or they really think he came back from the dead to do that. Alright, hang on. I gotta see what Celeste's account actually is. That is more than a minute or two.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
Let's try this.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible.
I think we may have to suck one of
Hifumi
those
was
up and
dead,
use it to fire a
without a
different
doubt.
bullet later.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found,
Okay, I have an idea.
and that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Okay, I have two ideas, but we're gonna try my first one
Are
first.
you saying that when we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
Okay.
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the
I don't
rest
have a lot
of
of
us.
parts to make this work.
Hifumi's dead body had been found.
That didn't work. Crap.
Shoot! Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
Maybe it's the
there's a
reverse
chance
of
he
that.
No, it is impossible.
Let's try
Hifumi
this.
was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovered. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's
There we go.
Are you saying
Let's
that
try
when we
this.
first found Hifumi in the nurse's office?
I know what's wrong. I just have to figure out what thing. It's
there's
like
a
playing Phoenix
chance
Wright.
he was
Actually still alive.
That didn't work either. Crap. We're in trouble here.
Shoot! Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
I have to think.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
Alright, so we have the phrase, he was
And you know
actually
that
still
how?
alive. We have the
Surely you
phrase,
heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body
had been found.
and that is why
Let's
the
set that up.
announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Maybe I have one last idea, and it's gonna have to work because we only have
Are you
half a heart.
saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest
I think
of
this
us.
seems to be logical.
Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Oh! Thank you! Oh, it was so close. I was really worried. Just to figure out the weird logic they want,
Was
exactly.
the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That would explain why it played again later.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't
Okay.
answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy
So
bum.
Hifumi was found by me, Celeste, and Hina. Right?
No, actually, that was plenty.
I have to think back.
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Which
Yeah, and it was
means-
discovered again later, which means, or broadcasted again later, which means Hifumi's body wasn't actually discovered Until we found him in the repository, at which time he wasn't even really dead, but maybe Monokuma thought he was?
Even if we find the same
It'd be an
body
interesting
again
moment
later,
of Monokuma being
he
fallible.
won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Second body discovery announcement, yes. And the second time was when both bodies were rediscovered.
We heard it a second time in the
So little
repository
health.
when we rediscovered the two bodies.
Yes. A body has been discovered. Blah, 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 blah.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
And in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
there
then.
is.
Let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body.
Alright, I got a pretty good idea of how this happened now.
Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Yeah, you just keep denying it. Alright, here's the proof that Hifumi was still alive. Oh no, it's gonna be one of these, which means I'm gonna have to figure out not only how actually to present this. Okay, hang on.
Well, here's one
I
thing
have to
we
figure out
do.
how they want me to present it.
The first time we found Hifumi's
Let me
body
really
was in the
careful
nurse's
here.
office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned...
Oh crap. Oh crap!
Shoot!
Oh crap! No! And I just... Nobody believes me. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Uh-oh. Have we already come to the end of the debate? Well then, the class trial is officially adjourned. Now it's time to reveal who is the blackened. Oh crap. It would appear the one with the most votes is Makoto. That doesn't make any sense. However, Makoto is not the blackened. Too bad. Looks like the real killer gets to graduate. Congratulations to them. On the other hand, everyone else must now be punished.
Is this really the end for all of us?
Yes, I want to give it another shot.
I refuse to give up yet.
I get more health. Okay, I gotta continue, it looks like. Alright, I gotta be much more careful. That was really stupid with me.
Well, here's one thing we do.
I know his glasses were the different thing.
The
I just have
first
to
time
be
we found
patient
Hifumi's
and
body
wait for the
was in
right
the nurse's
opportunity to
office.
present that, instead of jumping at the first
And
one.
then, while me and Celeste
Yeah,
with
yeah,
his
yeah.
body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body,
Shut up.
it was in the repository.
Ah!
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned,
Yes.
there was no notable difference.
There we go. If I just waited another couple seconds,
No, it's wrong.
just got greedy and wanted to do it quickly.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Yeah. It was his glasses cleaning cloth with his weird anime figure on it.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot.
Chubby, spotless Princess Peach or whatever.
One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear.
Super special. I know Chubby was in there.
This piece
Or
of
was it?
cloth
I don't
used
know.
to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was
No, yeah,
Princess
Pudgy.
Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
You know, if he really is in on this, that was remarkably stupid.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
Wait, an idea.
The fridge in the nurse's office
Yeah, never
contains
mind.
packs of blood for emergencies.
I guess that wasn't all that
Probably used
brilliant
one
of
of
a
those.
deduction.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. So he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot.
I don't know why, but Genocide Jill just cracks me up.
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one who moved Taka's body was Hifumi.
Got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
Dun dun dun!
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Why, yes, I do. It was the note.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
That's something about that expression, just imagining her being like, pants? I mean, I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just doing what she's doing, except not with the tongue that far. Whatever.
Yes, his pants.
Okay,
Why is everyone talking about his pants?
take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m. Is it bothering anyone else that the phrase, maybe we can use to escape, is just grammatically wrong there? It should be, I found a hole we can maybe use to escape, not we found a hole maybe we can use to, whatever.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, This one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been...
Hifumi's pants!
I got it! That's right! Taka!
Saying that's right to yourself? Or to me?
The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Hubby!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Aoi, there isn't a court stenographer. You don't have to be clear for the record.
Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously hilarious. But still, I can't let her get to me. So scary, whatever. Alright, oh wow, lots of clues.
Huffy had the note, right?
Let's think.
Then the person it was intended for...
I don't think we had any of these things that help.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
Oh, hold on.
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
Yes, it does.
No, that's wrong.
Look at that, her tongue is actually corkscrewing.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. You've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place, written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Why is it that the crazy serial killer is one of the most easy to convince, just sort of like logical people here as far as evidence goes?
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me.
She raised an objection, I provided logical evidence, and she went, alright.
The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Okay, can we move on from his pants?
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Proof is the note Taka was holding.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Dun dun dun!
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from its death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Not important enough to not rip and leave part of it behind. Man, this guy was a moron.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Oh my gosh. Hero!
Sorry, no. When we
Thank
found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
No! He got up and talked, and then he died for real. The note is played early, but does no one else, including the game itself, remember that Hifumi woke up and talked? Dead people don't do that.
The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then,
All that proves is that Monokuma thought he was dead at that point.
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
No, not the mastermind, just the killer in this
He
case.
was killed in the repository. So he must
Don't
have
use
been
that word.
killed
We use
not
that word
long
to mean
after
someone else.
transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So
It's
if
true.
Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
Oh, hero.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments.
Clarinets!
But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms,
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
Yeah, you don't really have a lot of
So which
motivation
hammer
to
was
figure
used
that
to
out.
attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then...
Those hammers were plenty big enough to kill
Is it
somebody.
not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
I'm very sorry about this dog. I don't know. My neighbor must have it on a balcony or something, and it's upset about it. I can't see it out the window, so I can't make it shut up. I feel bad for it, though. Anyway, back to the murder trial.
so then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi was my neighbor's dog! No, I know what it was. Or at least I think I do.
What was used to kill Hifumi?
The spotless
Was
hammer.
it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
Might hit that
Check out
one.
murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Oh my god.
One thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers.
Try this. There we go.
No, that's wrong.
Somebody try that website and see if it... No, actually, don't try that website. Get someone you don't like very much
Wasn't
to
a
try that
Justice
website
Hammer
and tell
at
me if
all.
it actually leads somewhere.
No, it was something completely different.
But seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
Or they just took them and painted them.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that was the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with.
Yes.
Hold on a moment.
Oh, sorry.
I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We also established Hifumi is an idiot, so... We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for someone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first. But... Another one of these, eh? Alright, that doesn't seem like a likely option,
Based
so
on
I
the
think it's
rules
gonna have to
that
be
have
one of
been
those
laid
ones
out
where we
for
pick
us,
one out here already.
Even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on
I'm
it.
just grabbing that in case.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Alright, let's
Based
try
on the
using
rules
two
that have
murders
been
on the
laid
road
out
if
for
possible.
us, even if more than
See if
one
that works.
person is complicit in the murder,
No!
only the one
Crap!
who actually carried
I was
out the
checking
act
my other
can
options.
graduate, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really applies if there's... In this case, however, there were two murders.
Sorry about that.
Based on the rules that even if more than one person, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply
There we go.
No, it's wrong.
So maybe the rule is different if they each killed one of them.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
Tricky!
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
You're telling me. The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning. Which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way this case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Place your guess now! Who could it be? Oh, come on, obviously it was Celeste.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
Yes.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him,
Well, you knew you could manipulate him.
that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Your accent's slipping.
Pardonnez-moi.
Wait, is it supposed to be a French accent you're doing?
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Encountering the suspicious individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Oh, come off it.
Sorry.
Stop apologizing!
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow. Something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? Oh, again. I saw him. The strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Hifumi scream. Yes. We've seen this 5 times now.
It was to get us to divide into 2 groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Then why don't we split into 2 groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
It's not really a piercing cry so much as it is some kind of owl call.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.